Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Varanasi, India. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to Varanasi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam, and we are here. We're here with a live crew. Only a few live crew. It's Walk on Wednesday. We were gonna play Meet the Pilgrims today. Bring some of the people who are traveling with us on pilgrimage. Now, Kaustubha's also in Mayapur. He's got a live crew of some of the regular Zoomers. Patrick Hefferman, Cindy and Steve, Nārāyaṇa. Who else is there that I can't
Dustin
see?
Brudge.
I think there's
Kylie
Dustin Brudge
Brown.
there. All right.
Yeah. We got Tara over here
Kylie
too.
Brown. And Tara, what? We're just talking about Tara. I will say, enthusiasm is everything. It's everything in material life, in the workplace. You got to be enthusiastic. In a relationship, in a romantic life, you got to be enthusiastic. In the spiritual life, you got to be enthusiastic. All the acharyas have mentioned this fact. How do you get enthusiasm? You just be enthusiastic, or you associate with people that are enthusiastic. And I will say, I have an incredibly enthusiastic group. We had an incredible morning today, Kaustubha. We got on that boat on the Ganga and went all the way up to the Ganga to deity that was, they said, it's where Vishnu came to Kashi, generations of Brahmins. Can you still hear me?
It's not very good. He's lagging pretty heavy.
Oh, man, I just said some good stuff. Anyway, we had a very sweet morning. How are you?
We just came from the Ganga. We were all bathing together, having a nice time together, telling stories in the water.
Ganga's
Did you hear
powerful.
me?
We saw the burning gods today. Then we saw Kashi Vishwanath, Lord Shiva.
Wow.
That was pretty amazing too.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So anyway, we're in a good place.
You got yourself a special little scarf there.
You like that? They gave it to the pilgrims. The Kashi Vishwanath scarf.
You should have gone. Mara should have brought a scarf there and been like, "We will give you our scarf."
Maybe we can get you a job there, Mara. You can knit Lord Shiva scarves for them. You know, we were going to play Meet the Pilgrims today and just bring out a few
I
pilgrims.
didn't know that. You didn't discuss that with me, Raghunath. I was
Well, it's a
preparing
walk on
all day.
Wednesday. There are walk-ons.
Okay.
And they were sort of going to even talk about themselves so much as talk about their experience. And I'm going to start with Catherine A., who's here with us. Catherine A., will you jump on this mic? We have to share a mic today. Sit close, talk in the mic. A lot of you know Catherine A. because she's a regular Savite at the Super Soul Farm, but she is here. And I will say, Catherine A., hire the attitude. She's got such a good attitude. How's your pilgrimage experience going? Tell me what you're doing, what your highs are.
Well, thank you. My humble obeisances to everyone. Hare Krishna. I'm happy to be here. I'm having a transcendental, ecstatic time, like filled with love and devotion, and I'm just surrounded by all the best souls. Yeah.
What was your favorite part of favorite parts? We've been here a couple of days. What's been your favorite part?
Oh, well, today on the Ganga, we had an amazing kirtan. And then we went to this beautiful temple where Lord Vishnu first put his feet in and carved the deity out of a shalagram shila.
Yep.
And it was magical. It was really, really beautiful. And we had a nice kirtan on the Ganga, and we're just all like praying together and talking together, and it's really nice.
I will say it really helps to have people like Catherine around because she's just got a good attitude. That good attitude, enthusiasm goes a long way. Let's bring another great attitude on board. Let's bring the King of Hearts. King of Hearts, come on down. Your favorite of mine, Bob Healy. Welcome to the show, Bob. He's also been on the show before.
Hey, Raghunath.
What's the best part of the pilgrimage? Yeah.
Your screen is just frozen pretty much the whole time anyway, so maybe better you turn your camera off.
Wow. How do you do that? There, stop video. Stop video. There we
Maybe
go.
that'll help. Maybe that'll help
We
the
can't
sound.
see Bob, but does that help? Bob, what do you like about this pilgrimage? How you doing? Talk.
Hold the mic. I'll hold the mic. Gotcha. Favorite part of the pilgrimage so far? Actually, today. Like, I feel like I hit my stride today. Took me a few days to sort of settle in, start to disconnect, start to get in the right mindset. So today I really felt as though I got to know a lot of the other pilgrims better, which always makes this interesting to hear other people's perspective, to hear how they got into this, and to sort of have conversations about where you're coming from, your similarities and your differences. And it's kind of what I find really interesting about this. And that, you know, I have a good teacher, one of your good teachers as well, Raghunath, told me that pilgrimage is based on two things, perspective and then focus, like taking a picture with a camera. And they say the perspective is granted by the person leading the pilgrimage, and Raghunath has given us wonderful perspective at all the places that we've gone. And then the focus is keeping your focus on Krishna. And I find that being with other pilgrims really helps you do that, and hearing their experiences and having them share with you what they find interesting. So I'm just trying to be really grateful and really humble.
What do you want to bring home with you?
I want to work on internal humility. I want to work on really trying to not just be external about it, but to really remind myself that I'm just one person on a really massive voyage that people have been taking for thousands upon thousands of years. And that gives you a lot of perspective. You once said that being humble doesn't mean thinking less about yourself, but thinking about yourself less. And so I'm trying to do that on this pilgrimage.
King of Hearts, we love this guy. Can you hear all that stuff, Kostuma?
Yeah, it's been a little better now that the camera is off.
Okay, yeah. I will say the association that we're keeping with these people like Bob and Catherine and our next walk on right now, it just changes everything. We had a good reason to be frustrated and broken. And as a tour pilgrimage leader, I try to put myself in the minds of everybody to make sure everyone's having an experience. I don't want to control their experience, but I want their things to go smoothly. And it was sort of like a little halfway. We had an incredible day up to like 1 o'clock. And then people were like, no, let's push through. Let's go see Kashi Vishwanath. And that's why people come to Varanasi. But just the rigmarole to get into that temple, they collect the passports and there's high security. It was any person would have broke down. And this group just said, they just walked around saying the mantra, enthusiasm is everything. And it was so beautiful. Like it allowed me to stop worrying for their experience. They just wouldn't let anything bother them. I'm incredibly impressed. So we want to bring on And you met her the other day. This is 'cause she asked a question the other day, but this is from Alaska. She's just so wonderful to be around. She's got an incredible attitude. Carly, how's your experience? What's your favorite part? What do you want to bring home? Welcome, Carly.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My experience has been transcendental. I mean, every second of it has been really incredible. I'm so happy to be here every second. I mean, I've said multiple times, like, this is probably I can't imagine being anywhere else, like, happier anywhere else than being here right now. But my favorite part so far was that first kirtan on the Ganga. We went on the boat and kind of drifted, got out into the river, and then drifted down the Ganges, and had sunset over the kind of river skyline of Varanasi. And I had been telling myself I was really nervous to come. Like, I went through some like deep internal battles to get here, just really anxious.
Why? I'm curious. I'm curious.
I'm just an anxious person. I'm like a turbo scenario, worst case scenario, think of every kind of possible thing that could go wrong. Catherine's my roommate, and I showed her my list of like every single thing that I have to write down, like, you know, OCD tendency to make a list of everything. And anyway, I mean, like, there's a couple times where I was like, what am I doing? Can I, I don't know if I can do this. But I had told myself, because I have this deep samskara of kirtans with you, Raghu, like, just for, being previously with you in Italy, and at GV, Govardhan Eco Village in January. And I knew that, like, even coming into it, I knew it would be worth it at that first kirtan. And I was expecting kind of like a Delhi hotel kirtan. And our first kirtan was on the Ganga, on a boat, just incredible. And I just broke down. I heard Janeshwar's voice. I just saw these people around who I built these relationships with, these new people who I had just met, everybody here for this kind of communal experience together, chanting. And I was like, I could fly home. I could fly home after this, and it would be worth it just to be here for that.
It's interesting when you say, oh, we're going to bring, 38 people, 40 people on a trip to India. A lot of people initially will say, oh, I really don't want to travel with that many people. But it's different on pilgrimage. You do want to travel with that many people. You want to go with a group that lifts you. You want to grow with the group that's enthusiastic. You want to get around people. This is a Sankirtan army. It's an army of singing together, of sharing together. We had an opening circle, and people were just pouring out their heart and how they got here, and what it takes to get here, and what their lives are like, and what they it was so beautiful to hear everybody's story. And we all have a magical story about how we ended up in Krishna's arms. And it was just you want to go with people on pilgrimage. The last thing I would want to do is just wander around alone, actually. How are you doing, Kaustubha?
Doing wonderful, Raghunath.
Carly,
also
thank
just
you.
Came from the Ganga. You were up there, and we were down here in the Ganga.
Yeah, I could have floated down and seen you.
I know.
So we didn't do any announcements. I don't know if we have announcements today. I know we have the
We got to talk about
Vivian.
tomorrow's show and the next show after that.
Tomorrow's show is not happening because we have a full-on travel day. I apologize. The next day will be at same time, 7 a.m. Eastern time. 7 a.m. Eastern time. The day after tomorrow. For all you regular Zoomers, spread the word. I'll put it up on I'm putting the times up on my Instagram stories, so you can check that if you're on Instagram. And I got a request to mention the Italy retreat, because we do this great Italy retreat, and it's already filling up. I'm amazed. We're so far out. If you're thinking about it, June 11th through the 18th, it's right before the season gets packed. And it's me, Mara, Kaustubha, and special guest Sachinandana Swami. And it's wonderful. It's in Tuscany at Villa Vrindavan. And people bringing their kids too. It's a great, you can bring your kids. It's kid-friendly. Italy's kid-friendly. Great food, great people, lots of kirtan. And Kaustubha gives class, I give class. We enjoy the beautiful countryside. Great prasadam. I'm looking forward to it again. That is all.
Okay. Are you ready to get into it?
Yeah.
I'll chant those mantras.
Ready?
Yeah.
Nārayaṇam namaskritānanam chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat. Before reciting our Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Nārayaṇa Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesh vabhadresu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyanatamarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
You're just turned into one of these speed chanters, Raghunath. That was fast.
I said hello to everybody fast too today. Well, you know, I want to apologize. Yesterday, I was having one of those
You were tired.
jet lag, get hit by the sleepy stick. And I was like sleeping during the show. I want to apologize to everybody who listened to the show yesterday. I was pathetic, and my body was taking over, and I felt very, very bad after.
You're good. Right?
I felt very bad after that.
No. You know, the day before that, when we did the show, I was so tired, and Mara saw this, but like I was sending her like the write-up for after the show, and then she goes and posts it. And you know, like sometimes you're working on the computer and you fall asleep, and your hands just kind of fall asleep on the keyboard, and it just starts to print out like bizarre stuff. Like
I've fallen asleep on my computer before too. I'm like
it was said
beep,
something
beep,
like,
beep, beep, beep,
and then I sent it
Yeah.
to Mara. I said, "This is what I just typed out. I'm so tired." But no, you were fine, Raghunath. That's no problem.
Anyway, I feel like these are challenges. You know, I was already like, why am I doing this podcast while I'm traveling? This is ridiculous. I'm neglecting the people with me. I'm not doing it efficiently. And then out of the blue, Carly came up to me. She goes, "Hey, I just want to really thank you guys for doing the podcast while you're traveling, because it means a lot to me, and I get to follow your travels." And I was like, "Oh, okay." As soon as I doubted it, Krishna sent Carly. Carly. And I didn't tell you that, Carly, but it sort of like reconfirmed that we got to try our best. We got to try our best. What? You're doing a Krishna miracle. Krishna miracle is going to blow your mind.
You got a
All
Krishna
right.
miracle?
This is a Krishna miracle, my friend.
That'd
All
be
right.
good.
Wait. Are you freaking kidding? Are you kidding me?
I'm not. I'm serious.
How many people are in India? There's 1 billion people in India. I am on the
Okay.
Ganga. I'm floating down the Ganga in my boat with a group of pilgrims. We just finished a kirtan. Everybody's exhausted. Everybody's ecstatic. We're throwing water on each other's head. We're in the spiritual realm. Whose boat comes by? Hari Priya. Hari Priya, our good friend, who her and her husband run the GEV. She's not just like someone she's like a good friend of ours.
Varanasi?
No, she lives in Mumbai or Pune. She lives in both, in Mumbai at the GEV and in Pune. She comes by in a boat. I was like, wow, that's so weird. That lady looks like Hari Priya. And I was like, oh my God, it's Hari Priya. And we started screaming, and she started screaming at us. And we had this like incredible. So she sent me this text. I was like, because we couldn't really talk to her from the boat. We just said hello. But she said, Har Har Mahadev, so happy to see you today. What a surprise. She said, my father left this world on the night of the 14th. Radhanath Swami came to meet him on the 12th, and he left his body on the 14th. He suffered a lot for 2.5 months. Krishna sent Radhanath Swami to personally deliver him on the 12th. Today is the 3rd day, so he came to immerse his ashes. My father loved Mother Ganga, and he loved Shiva also. My father has a special mercy of Mother Ganga. In 2006, listen to this, 2006, he walked all along the banks of the Ganga from Ganga Sagara, that's the Bay of Bengal, to Gomukh. He walked 2,400 kilometers in 4 months. He walked the whole length of Mother Ganga. How incredible is that? Now I want to do that. I was thinking I want to hike the Appalachian Trail. I want to hike. I want to hike the Ganga.
I think I would rather just do it on a boat, but
Prabhu, come
sounds
on.
great.
Walk it.
You could walk it. I'll
That's
take
a-
a boat.
I'd like Kastuba's approval that that's a Krishna miracle.
That's a Krishna miracle. To me, it's not. The real Krishna miracle is that on the day that she went out there with her father's ashes, Raghunath was there. That's the Krishna miracle.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the Krishna miracle.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm not saying his walking was the Krishna miracle. That was just
No,
cool.
No. Yeah, but the way that you started, you said, there's 1 million people in India. Okay, then but the miracle, not that
There's
you
a
bumped into-
billion. There's a billion
That's right,
people.
A billion. Yeah, I know.
And I found Hari Priya on the Ganga. Come on.
Yeah, well, but to me, the real miracle was like on the very day that she went there. You've never gone there before, and on that
No.
very day, right out there, your boats meet. When she was taking her father's ashes out there, that's.
We also met Joe Carini.
Wow.
How crazy is that? We met Joe Carini. Did we meet somebody else? Oh, and Lilo from Colombia was here, and Cielo.
Oh, I thought Lilo went with you. Okay.
No, it's crazy. Crazy
It's a
things are
miracle.
happening to us.
Okay. All right, Raghu, let's get into the show, huh?
Okay, I did
Ready?
the prayers. Now we're at the Nārāyaṇa-kavaca Shield.
Yeah.
You need protection. Mara was walking down the streets of Varanasi today. She's like, I'm going to chant prayers to Nrsimhadev so I don't get hit by a tuk-tuk bicycle or a camel. So this is the Nārāyaṇa-kavaca. It's the shield of Narayan.
Yeah. But, I wanted to go back just a bit, Raghunath. You ready?
Yep.
You there?
Yep.
Okay. Because yesterday we read about, Indra. He was, and the Devas, they all approached this young priest, Visvarupa. They needed a priest. When we say priest, what do you think of when I say priest?
I think of like Father Vito Sarducci.
Yeah, and what did the priest do? Like when you think of what the priest did when you went to church, like what did you see as their role?
They hand out the wafers. They dip them in wine. They give a lecture. Okay. My guy was not so entertaining, that's for sure.
I mean, yeah. So, okay.
You know what I mean? Like in India, I find these pandas, they're really entertaining. They're almost like entertainers. They tell stories. They make you joke. They make you laugh. They make you cry. I never got that sitting in church.
Generally when we say, when I say priest, I more think of the sermon. But I think, especially it has to do with like a priest is a person who performs religious ceremonies and duties. They do the rituals, right? You need someone that's learned and qualified to do the rituals.
They do the rituals. That's right.
So in the Catholic Church, the ritual is what you mentioned, that they perform this ritual of what do they call it? The host or,
sacrament.
The sacrament, they make the wine.
The host.
The blood of Christ and the body of Christ.
Sometimes they wouldn't dip it in the wine. Sometimes they just give you it straight.
Either way.
I always like the wine a little bit. I want to dip it.
Well,
I did. A little taste. The thing is weird tasting, isn't it? It's like a piece of cardboard.
Anyway,
I one time stole a package. I stole a package of them, like backstage in the church. Not backstage, but you know what I mean. We went back there because we were part of the folk mass. And we'd go back, we'd get back in the back rooms and stuff. And I was like, I saw a whole package of wafers. I was like, I'm taking these. And I just ate them. And I don't think they were blessed. So I don't think I got the credit. But my mother didn't know. She wouldn't kill me. Are you kidding me? By the way, speaking of my mother, they are making a rendition. You know how they make a rendition of movies? They're making a rendition of The Exorcist. And I'm very, very worried for our listeners out there. Do not take this lightly. Do not see that movie. Just saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Continuing on, Kastuba.
So the Devas, they're approaching Visvarupa because they need someone who's particularly qualified because they're in bad shape, and they're looking for someone that can perform rituals that will protect them from the Asuras so that they can fight and defeat their enemies. And they've been told by Brahma, Visvarupa is that person, right? He's got the qualifications. Why? He's austere, he's simple, he's learned. And so they're going to approach him because he's the person that can pull it off, right?
Yep.
But it's kind of like we've been talking about this on the show, how we say that within all the different spiritual traditions, there's a certain hierarchy of evolution from karma, where you kind of want the things of this world, and the priests are especially involved in that kind of thing, right? The priest is there to do the ritual for the healthy birth of the child. The priest is there to do the ritual to bring rain for the crops. The priest like that. And then above that is, I don't want the things of this world. I want to renounce the things of this world. I don't see this world as a place for me to try to enjoy. I actually see it's a place for me to try to, in a sense, escape or to transcend, right? And we call that the jnana viewpoint, right? Jnana vision. And then we believe that beyond that, there's the bhakti level, where divine love actually becomes the motive, right? So what's happening here is, when they approached Visvarupa, he was willing to do it because they were the devas. They were like the number one people in the universe, but it really wasn't his calling to get involved in this kind of ritual, He was building up his own spiritual Shakti, and it was kind of like now he was being asked to spend that to help these people out with their materialistic concerns of power and enemy defeating and that kind of thing, And so I thought it was interesting how Visvarupa, I'll read a few of the verses. It said, Visvarupa said, "O demigods, although the acceptance of priesthood is decried as causing the loss of previously acquired Brahminical power, how can someone like me refuse to accept your personal request? Right? You're all exalted commanders of the entire universe. I'm your disciple. I must take many lessons from you. Therefore, I cannot refuse you." So he didn't want to get involved in this kind of materialistic ritual as a brāhmaṇa, right? And then he went on to say, the way that I'm living, I just go around and I pick up the grains that are left in the field after people harvest. I live simple. I got this simple, super austere lifestyle. And, and that's part of what's giving him his spiritual power, right? He's not into material comforts, right? He's left all that behind. He's living this austere life. He says, it's by this austerity and penance that he maintains himself. He's not interested in doing these rituals. And he says, a brāhmana who desires to achieve happiness by gaining wealth through professional priesthood must certainly have a very low mind. How shall I accept such priesthood?
Because this was my realization yesterday too. To the degree that you get into bhakti, you need nothing. You need nothing from this world any longer. It's like you're happy with the most simple things, and all the things that you had previously that you enjoy that were sort of extravagant. And this is my special this or this. You feel like it's exhausting just maintaining that thing. Naturally, bhakti yogis want to simplify their lives as much as possible, and they find their joy in the simplification. And they don't even look at it as penance. They look at it as this is actually real enjoyment.
It's so true,
in a culture of stuff collection, like that's where we come from. America, it's like this is what you do in wealthy nations. You have we were talking about this morning in class. It's like, I have a perfect kitchen and I'm going to tear the whole kitchen apart and put in a new kitchen. Why? Because I want to update my kitchen, right? This is what people do. I want to update my kitchen. I want to update the playroom. I'm going to rip out my entire bathroom and I'm going to update my bathroom. I'm going to make a bigger shower, or a shower with 3 heads in it, or a special, or I'm going to enlarge my bathroom so I can hang out in my bathroom more. It's actually quite ridiculous if you analyze it, especially when the rest of the world is just like, so many people are just suffering in poverty, and we are getting and we're fighting over what color granite countertop to get. It's what people do who've got nothing to do.
Yeah, you get the desires placed in front of you, and then they enter into your mind and they enter into your heart, and you're saying, to be happy, I need to get that, right? And it's we've spoken about this in the past, but it's kind of like that when you travel too. A lot of us are traveling right now, and when a lot of times when you travel, you think, oh, I need to bring this, I need to bring that, I need to bring that. But a lot of times when you do that, you see bringing all that stuff just brings you anxiety, you know? It's just
Exactly.
a heavy
That's-
load. It's a heavy load to carry, you know?
Yeah.
And you realize I'd be happier if I didn't bring all this stuff.
Well, I
And
use
that's,
this. Go on.
yeah.
Prabhu, sorry.
I was going to say that's what life is like. We think we're going to be happier by increasing what we have. The sooner that we realize that actually our happiness is within, the sooner that then when we're letting go of these things, what we're letting go is our anxiety. You know, you're just
Sure.
letting that anxiety go. Yeah.
How
Go ahead.
much pleasure do we get out of stuff, stored stuff? It's like ridiculous. When you see the simplicity of the lives of people here and the taste they have for chanting or the taste they have for puja and the taste, it's actually really fulfilling things. And I was, anyway, I was thinking of like one of the greatest times of anxiety I had. And this is like a dream. If you're not from New York, this is like the New York City dream. You get to a certain amount of wealth in New York City that you buy your second house in upstate New York. So many New Yorkers do like this. They have the resources. They have a great apartment or a great condo or a great co-op in New York City. So they get an upstate New York house and they feel, this will be great. We'll take the kids upstate. I tell you, I had that so-called good fortune because I had my really cheap, big, my Christian miracle story, how I got this really cheap, massive apartment in New York City. And then for another I wanted to raise my kids in the countryside, but I didn't want to let go of the New York City apartment. So we rented this house upstate. It was pristine. It was in the countryside. It was perfect for the kids. I never had more anxiety in my life trying to take care of two properties. Why? Because you can't be in two places at one time. And then there's the schlepping everything back and forth. It was so much anxiety. And if you're in New York City, you're not thinking about what's going upstate. If a tree fell down, I'm not even thinking about the tree, but it's like an emergency. You got to clean up that tree. You got to make sure you didn't, take out the electricity, or you got a pipe that breaks. We tend to think by expanding our life, we'll find more peace. And the fact is, our peace of mind comes from living simply. And it's just natural. People in bhakti yoga do not want to find pleasure just from investing in stuff, which didn't even make me happy in the first place. It just made my ego happy. And I thought it would make me happy. But it was so much energy just to keep that extra stuff going. Simplify, simplify, simplify. What to speak of. And by the way, I don't mean to say all you got to do is simplify and then you live in a cabin or a trailer. No, there's a deep richness in the joy of a spiritual practice. It's simplification. I'm not saying just be a hillbilly. Is that politically incorrect to call somebody a hillbilly? But you know what I mean? It's not just like live in a simple cottage, because then you get to the point of, okay, now what do? I'm simplified. It's have a rich spiritual life that engages your senses and your heart and your joy and a community. Otherwise, I'm not saying live in isolation. Community is everything as well. And these are the things that actually bring us joy. Good relationships, good community, good spiritual practices, simple, healthy food, living in nature.
Okay. And so even within like the realm of being a Brahmin, right, which is supposed to be the simple living people, we can see that the way that this material world works is even people will take that position and kind of exploit it for the purpose of the expansion of their own stuff too,
Yep.
And so therefore, when Visvarupa is speaking like this, he's loath to go there. A brāhmaṇa who desires to achieve happiness by gaining wealth through professional priesthood must certainly have a very low mind. How shall I accept such priesthood? He says, all of you are my superiors. Therefore, although accepting this type of priesthood is sometimes reproachable, I cannot refuse even a small request from you. So I agree to become your priest. Interesting. I thought that was interesting. And today I picked up my old beat up copy of Siddhartha.
Aw.
And I was reading through it. And what continually amazes me is how well Herman Hesse, how much he can convey in such a short space,
You brought your Siddhartha with you?
Yeah.
Amazing. Here's a guy that packed nothing. He's going to be there for
Like my
5
Siddhartha
months. I'm going to be here for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I've got like suitcases, extra bags. I'm wearing all these different layers of clothes. You come on that plane with nothing. And even in that nothing, you packed Siddhartha. Who are you?
Well, because I'm writing and his writing inspires me. But the book, I wanted to read you a little because he expressed this very point about priesthood so well. In India, we do see this, don't we? That you go into a temple and the priests, sometimes you meet the sweetest, most humble and pure priests. They've got so much to share. And sometimes you meet ones that are kind of like they're kind of like harassing you a little bit, like
They're harassing you. Yeah, we met both of them today, I think. We met the 10th generation sweet priest, and then we met some it almost felt like a business transaction.
Yeah, that's a really sad place to be as a priest.
Yeah.
And Siddhartha, right? In Siddhartha, the book opens up with a description of Siddhartha, and it's just glorifying him, and it's written so beautifully and so poetically. The first paragraph is just kind of describing him in the village where he lived. And he writes so well. Then he talks about his father. Should I read this right now? Just a little bit?
Yeah, please.
So he talks about how his father, it's such a beautiful way to introduce a character. But he talks about how his father felt when he would see Siddhartha. Then how his mother felt when he would see Siddhartha. Then how the girls in the village felt when they would see Siddhartha. And then the last person becomes really important. So he says, joy leapt into his father's heart at the thought of his son. The studious boy, with his thirst for knowledge, he envisioned him growing up to be a great wise man and a priest, a prince among the brāhmaṇas. Delight leapt into his mother's breast when she beheld him, watched him as he walked and sat and stood. Siddhartha, the strong, handsome boy, walking on slender legs, greeting her with flawless grace. And when you meet a real Brahmin, they're like this, right? We know people like this, you know what I'm saying? Real culture people. He said,
yeah,
love. Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Then next says, love stirred in the hearts of the young Brahmin girls when Siddhartha walked through the streets of their town with his radiant brow, his regal eye, his narrow hips. But none of them loved him more dearly than Govinda, his friend, the Brahmana's son. Okay, now we're going to hear how his friend Govinda, who admired Siddhartha so much, what he understood about him. He said he loved Siddhartha's eyes and his sweet voice, loved the way he walked and the flawless grace of his movements. He loved all that Siddhartha did and all that he said, and most of all, he loved his mind, his noble, passionate thoughts, his ardent will, his noble calling. Govinda knew this would be no ordinary Brahmin, no indolent pen pusher overseeing the sacrifices, no greedy hawker of incantations, no vain, shallow orator, no wicked, deceitful priest, and no foolish, good sheep among the herd of the multitude. Nor did he, Govinda, have any intention of becoming such a creature, one of the tens of thousands of ordinary Brahmins. His wish was to follow Siddhartha. Right?
It sounds like he's been to India and has met, both. Both the sweet. You meet these sweet Brahmins, you like melt your heart.
Yeah, the way that he wrote about that, right? His noble, passionate. He loved his mind, his noble, passionate thoughts, his ardent will, his noble calling. And it's interesting that he said here, he knew that Siddhartha would become no greedy hawker of incantations. Basically, that's what Indra is asking from Visvarupa. I need an incantation from you to protect me from my enemies, so that I can be victorious over them. And he's kind of like, that's not really what I'm into, I'm really not interested in spending the merit that I'm accruing through my own practices and austerities in that kind of concern. But you're obviously a very high level, very special person. You've asked me to do this, so I'll do it. And so he composes for him this incantation. And that incantation is called the Nārāyaṇa-kavaca. So that's the verse, that's the chapter that we will now read. And basically we're going to get the whole incantation in this chapter.
Side note, I love your mind and I love your hands.
Oh, Raghunath, I love yours too.
No,
And your
you don't.
feet. I do.
No, that's cruel. That's cruel.
No, no, I remember there one day we were sitting there with Satya Nandamarsh, and he was taking note of your feet. He's like, these are very good feet.
But I don't think he was like glorifying them.
No, he was. They were
think he
just
was-
different. They were wide.
Yeah,
They
he
were
said,
very
"Oh,
wide.
those feet, they're very wide. They're good for balance." He was seeing the good. He was finding gold in a filthy place.
No. But it was nice what it said about the mind, right? That's what the real Brahmana is supposed to be. Someone with these good thoughts. That's what we're looking for in a Brahmana. And Visvarupa was there. He and part of the proof that he was there is that even though he was born in the Asura lineage,
Right.
and Indra was approaching him for an incantation that would actually help him defeat the group of people that he was coming from, he didn't see in terms of friends and enemies and I'm in this camp and that camp. He was above that. Indra wasn't above that, and we're going to hear about that later, and that's where it starts to get dark. All right, you want to kick it off?
1 to 2.
What's that?
Heard from Sukadeva Goswami.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Vishnu arm King Indra aims him to conquer his enemy.
Hold it, Raghu.
Enjoy the opulence of the three worlds. Please explain to me the Nārayaṇa armor by which King Indra achieved success in battle, conquering the enemies who are intending to kill him.
Okay, Raghunath?
Yeah.
The first half of that verse just got all garbled.
Oh, man. Maybe you should read it.
You sound okay now. Go ahead and try again.
Okay. My Lord, kindly explain to me the Vishnu mantra, armor that protected King Indra and enabled him to conquer his enemies, along with their carriers, and enjoy the opulence of the three worlds. Please explain to me that Narayan armor by which King Indra achieved success in battle, conquering enemies who are endeavoring to kill him. Now Sukadeva Goswami speaking. King Indra, the leader of the demigods, inquired about the armor known as Nārāyaṇa-kavaca from Visvarupa, who was engaged by the demigods as their priest. Please hear Visvarupa's reply with great attention.
Okay.
Visvarupa said, if some form of fear arrives, one should first wash his hands and legs clean, and then perform akshman by chanting the mantra Om Apavitra Pavitro Va Sarva Vastam Gato Piva Yasmaret Pundarekaksham Sa Baya Bayantaraha Suchi Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu. Then one should touch kusha grass and sit gravely and silently facing north. When completely purified, one should touch the mantra composed of 8 syllables to the 8 parts of his body, and touch the mantra composed of 12 to his hand.
Hold it. You're breaking up a little bit now. We're gonna
manner. He should. Okay.
Maybe let me
Sir,
finish
can you
this
hear me?
verse. Yeah, you're a little garbled now. Let me finish this verse, and we'll see if you're good
Okay.
again.
Go.
This,
go.
by the way, this is a practice called nyasa, right? Where you touch different parts of your body and chant the mantra to kind of bring the presence of the deity to those parts of your body and place them there consciously, right?
Yeah.
So when completely purified, one should touch the mantra composed of 8 syllables. And it's going to tell us what mantra that is. I think that's Om Namo Nārāyaṇaya. When completely purified, one should touch the mantra composed of 8 syllables to the 8 parts of his body, and touch the mantra composed of 12 syllables to his hands. Thus, in the following manner, he should bind himself with the Narayan coat of armor. First, while chanting the mantra composed of 8 syllables, Om Namo Nārāyaṇaya, beginning with the pranava, the syllable Om, one should touch his hands to the 8 parts of the body, starting with the 2 feet and progressing systematically to the knees, thighs, abdomen, heart, chest, mouth, and head. So then one should chant the mantra in reverse. Really? Beginning from the last syllable, ya.
What?
Yeah, you're going to do it backwards now. While touching the parts of his body in the reverse order.
Yep,
These-
me.
Or I guess it turns into moo.
Back masking. Well, Om backwards would be moo.
Yeah. The two processes. These two processes are known as Utpatti Nyasa and Sanghara Nyasa, respectively. Okay, so I'm placing Lord Vishnu in these different forms all over my body as a armor. All right, you want to try text 7, see if you're sounding good now?
Yeah. Then one should chant the mantra composed of the 12 syllables, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Preceding each syllable by the Omkara, one should place the syllables of the mantra on the tips of the fingers, beginning with the index finger of the right hand and concluding with the index finger of the left. The 4 remaining syllables should be placed on the joints of the thumbs.
Okay.
There are so many. You watch these yogis and these priests. They have so many rituals that they do. I
Yeah.
think Prabhupada tried to like simplify it for us, where Lord Chaitanya did. Like, you know what? You just chant Hare Krishna.
No doubt.
It's the best thing. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like Prabhupada made it very simple. But you know what? It's not just Prabhupada. It's just like our whole lineage is like, listen, here's the essence, people. Here's the essence, and this is going to take care of everything else. But when you do meet these very cultured people who are doing the essential things and doing all these detailed things, it's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, text 8 through 10. One must then chant the mantra of 6 syllables. Om Vaishnave Namaha. That's what we chanted today. The priest made us chant this.
Beautiful.
One should place the syllable on his heart. The syllable
Om
V
on his heart.
Okay. And the syllable V on the top of his head, and the syllable Sa between his eyebrows, and the syllable Na on the tuft of hair, or his Sika, and the syllable V between his eyes. The chanter of the mantra should then place the syllable Na on all the joints of the body and meditate on the syllable Ma as being a weapon. He should thus become the perfect personification of the mantra. Thereafter, adding Visarga to the final syllable, Ma, he should chant the mantra Ma Astraya Pat in all directions, beginning from the east. In this way, all the directions will be bound by the protective armor of the mantra. So this
Getting
appears
serious.
to be some fantastic otherworldly ritual that if we were to see someone to do it, we'd be like, what the heck is this guy doing over there? Some black magic or some, and they're just doing like this metaphysical, otherworldly mantras with mudras, with touching different parts of his body. It would look very interesting to witness this stuff.
Sure. But we do something similar to this when we put on our tilak, right? We chant different names of Lord Vishnu and place them on different parts of our body.
Yes, we do. We put the mantras and the tilak on our body, all over the body, and then we're chanting the names of Lord Vishnu for protection of the different sections of the body and treating the body as a temple.
Yeah.
Okay. Text 11. After finishing this chanting, one should think of himself qualitatively one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full in 6 opulences and is worthy to be meditated upon. Then one should chant the following protective prayer to Lord Nārayaṇa, the Nārāyaṇa-kavaca.
Here we go.
Text 12. The Supreme Lord who sits on the back of the bird Garuda, touching him with his lotus feet, holds 8 weapons, the conch shell, the disc, the shield, the sword, the club, the arrows, the bow, and the ropes. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead protect me at all times with his 8 arms. He is all-powerful because he fully possesses the 8 mystic powers, anima, lagima, etc.
So now this is the Nārāyaṇa-kavaca incantation now that we're hearing. And by the way, Raghunath, I don't know if you noticed that first sentence there. He sits, Lord Vishnu is sitting on the back of the bird Garuda, touching him with his lotus feet. I don't know if do you remember a few.
Remember, we were talking about
some
how do you
months-
ride this motorcycle? Do you stand on
Well,
it?
yeah,
Or do you...
it's Lord Vishnu, because it mentions that his feet were on the shoulders of Garuda. So was he riding him like hanging 10 on a surfboard, or were his feet on him,
Sometimes
sitting on him, and like riding him like a Harley?
Yeah, where you're sort of kicked back with your feet up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know because there's different
Well, no, but this
different-
says he's sitting, so this is more like
Okay.
the Harley, right?
Okay.
I mean, that's what this says. The other one didn't tell us that he was sitting, but this one says
Maybe
he's-
there's other descriptions. And let's face it, Lord Vishnu's a person. He might say, you know what?
He
I'm
would
going to
ride
stand on
different
Garuda today. I'm going to change it up. I'm going to ride it like a ninja. I'm going to ride Garuda like a ninja. I'm going to lean forward, lean into the gas tank, so to speak, and put the feet in the back. Sometimes he probably stretches his legs. Sometimes, you know what? I'm going to stand up. Sometimes I'm going to do this, right? I'm an individual. I have
Possible.
preferences. Sometimes I stand up.
But what we know is that he was riding him like a Harley, at least this time.
This time he was sit back and riding Garuda. I don't know if it's an offense to compare Garuda to a Harley Davidson, but or maybe it's a compliment.
Either way, it's just how
Anyway.
he was riding.
May the Lord, who assumes the body of a great fish, protect me in the water from the fierce animals that are associates of the demigod Varuna. Oh, I'm going to chant this. I'm scared of being in the water. By
Yeah, you
expanding
have
his
to.
illusory energy, the Lord assumed the form of a dwarf Vamana. I just told that story today. May Vamana protect me on the land. Since the gigantic form of the Lord Visvarupa conquers the three worlds, may he protect me in the sky. May Lord Ashringadev, who appeared as the enemy of Hiranyakashipu, protect me in all directions. His loud laughing vibrated in all directions and caused the pregnant wives of the Asuras to have miscarriages. May that Lord be kind enough to protect me in the difficult places, like the forest and the battlefront. It's interesting to think that the forest is dangerous, but it was dangerous.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, there's not that much danger in our forests, really.
Come on, I had those hyenas out there, whatever you got out there.
We don't have hyenas, Costume.
Not hyenas. What were they?
Coyotes. They don't mess with you.
Coyotes.
Coyotes, it's very rare coyote that messes with you. They have to
owls
be
out there.
rabid. Owls, that's
owl.
another animal. They're very, very dangerous.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Those female owls protecting their babies. But imagine the animals in the jungle in India. Leopards, tigers, all types of
Snakes.
cats, snakes, forget it.
Scorpions.
Scorpions, fire ants.
Okay, keep going.
Okay,
bro.
ready? The supreme indestructible Lord is ascertained through the performance of ritualistic sacrifices and is therefore known as Yogeshwara. In his incarnation as Lord Bor, he raised the planet Earth from the water at the bottom of the universe and kept it on his pointed tusks. May that Lord protect me from the rogues on the street. Yep, there's some rogues out there. May Parshuram protect me on the tops of mountains, and may the elder brother of Bharat, Lord Ramachandra, along with his brother Lakshman, protect me in foreign countries. Yes.
Yeah, and
May Lord
we
Narayan-
should point out that when you're chanting this, it's in verses, it's in poetry, and it's being
all
chanted with a
beautiful.
certain Vedic intensity,
Yeah. It's musical. It often rhymes. It sometimes has alliteration.
Kind of
Yeah, it's quite
builds
wonderful.
in this. Yeah, it draws you in and it absorbs your mind.
I tell you, Kostub, we're doing yoga on the roof. I do a satsang in the morning at 6 a.m. on the roof. And I almost feel guilty starting to chant because there's such beautiful chanting happening in the ashrams behind us. I was like, I hate to even interrupt this lady. It's so beautiful and otherworldly.
What's she chanting?
I don't even know. Something. But I will say this. In the middle of my Hari Katha, they started doing laughing yoga. And everybody just burst into immense amounts of laughter across the ashram. I was like, oh my God, what is going on? It's almost sounded a little like a haunted house, like I I was like, what is going on over there? But it was laughing yoga. And then we all laughed. It really works. It's contagious. Laughing works. Laughing yoga, Kastuba, is the teacher. I'm going to do that. Laughing yoga, 300-hour teacher training.
I think you already do.
What do you say, Cindy Lunsford? Do you think we could pull that off?
Definitely.
Laughing yoga, teacher
You
training.
never stop laughing.
Never stop laughing. It's good for you. It's good for you. Okay. Are we done? What's going on here? It's 3:20, 5:20. I think we got to pick up tomorrow or the day after tomorrow at 7 a.m. Eastern time. But Mara, do we have any takeaways? We got to stop. Okay. Varanasi. It's a very cool place, Kastuba. Let's go together.
Hold it. Mara didn't do any takeaways today?
No, I have takeaways.
She has takeaways. She wants the mic, but I want to talk to you, Kastuba.
Okay, why don't you turn your camera on now? Let's see if that'll work now.
All right. We're still here. Takes a second to click on. Okay. Hi. All right. Here's Miss Mara. I'll play around with that.
There you go.
There we go. Okay.
Hi, Mara.
Association. Hi. Association and enthusiasm is everything.
Enthusiasm is everything.
And association.
And association. Me and
They're
Kastuba
both
just blowing.
everything.
I know.
If you've downloaded this podcast on Apple Podcasts, you can't see that me and Kastuba are just blowing kisses to each other now that we can see each other.
I mean, it seemed like Govinda and Siddhartha really had a man crush thing going on there too.
Yeah, it's okay if you have a man crush. I mean, big deal. We're
No,
friends.
that's not what I said. Right?
That's what you meant. He's blushing.
I love him.
Okay, Mara, go ahead.
To the degree you get into bhakti, you're satisfied with simplicity.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true. I get into and I'm not there, but I get into these points where like all I need is the Chaitanya Charitamrita and my bead bag, and you could lock me in a cave. Throw me some chapatis now and then, or put me in prison. Whatever. It could be great.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna have to give it to Parjanya Maharaj.
Hold it, Raghunath. You got to turn the camera off again because you're lagging.
That old Indian valley. Yeah.
Yeah, you go ahead. Turn off your camera because you're lagging again.
All right. It's off. How's that?
Much better. Parjanya Maharaj.
So I'll give a shout out to Parjanya Maharaj. I don't think he's alive any longer, but we used to stay at this hotel in
Saratoga. Or no, was it Saratoga? Not Saratoga. Syracuse, right?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to hit it.
All right, tell the Parjanya.
Sorry, beautiful people. Thanks for joining us, guys. No show tomorrow. Parjanya Maharaj, he was just like an old man who used to put us up, lived there with his children and grandchildren at the hotel. And he used to just say, come into my living room. I will read you Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's all he did. He had this hotel, so he didn't have to work because he just rented out rooms. It paid for itself. And you know what his house was like? It was humble. There was nothing to it. But when I was a brahmachari, I was like, I want to be like this guy. I don't want to have any worries. I want my only job to be reading the Bhagavatam. I thought like that. And then I got complicated. Then I complicated my life. And you know what? I want it back, Kastuba. I want that simplicity back. I can taste it.
Let's take it back.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks for all our little Walk on Wednesday friends. Harry Bowl to you. Thanks to Kastuba's Live people. They're my buddies. Kylie, Nārāyaṇa, yes, yes. Patrick Heff, he's a local. Stephen and Cindy. Oh, man. Jump on here, Carly. Get over here. Oh, we have no camera.
Hi, Hi, Kylie.
You should have seen Kylie today. We're in the Ganga and we're telling stories about Lord Gauranga, Lord Chaitanya, and we told the story about how the brāhmaṇa came to cook You know, he stayed at Lord Chaitanya's house, and Lord Chaitanya was a little boy, and he kept eating the offerings.
It's a good one.
And then the final one laid in the middle of the night where he cooked one last time, and then he offered it again, and then Lord Chaitanya ate it again, and then he revealed himself that I am that Gopal that you've been calling. And when we told that, like, Kylie was about to like break down in the water, she was just like, totally like, I was watching her face. She was like, oh my God.
You called me and I came.
That's right.
It's all happening. It's all happening. We're in it.
Yeah.
10
Now,
years
the
ago,
the ladies asked, is there a place that they can change the Ganga so that they can bathe? And I said, yes. It's right over there. And it's these like aluminum tin kind of shacks, but they're like, you have to walk through this like you know, shin deep mud to get in there.
you gotta want it.
Yeah. Then at the end, when we're done, they say, "Can we change in Tara's house?" And we say, "Oh, you divas we got here, huh? Okay."
All right, you guys. Well, keep those transcendental adventures going. Everybody out there, thanks for joining us and tolerating our bad connections. We really appreciate you guys for staying with us. Zoomers, I appreciate you following our crazy schedule. Forgive us if we're traveling, we can't do a show. We're committed to really try to do this as much as we possibly can. Thanks for joining us. It's a beautiful day for a beautiful day. The world is a magical place. Come join our magical world. Let the magic continue to flow.
Are you gonna bring me one of those Shiva scarves?
Yes, we are. If you want it, but you gotta worship Lord Shiva.
I do. We have them on our altar. We have little Kopeshwar.
Because I do. Oh, you have Kopeshwar. Okay, yeah. You have the other one. We have twins.
That's
Remember?
right.
We both got them the same day. You and me are twins too, aren't we? Give me that pinky. Give me that pinky, babu.